So today I want to talk about authenticity in writing. So authenticity is this concept of being true to who you are. When you're writing nonfiction, this is pretty straightforward because most of the time when you're writing nonfiction, especially if you're doing a memoir, you're writing about true events. So authenticity in those cases means being honest about not only what happened, but about how you felt and what you were thinking at the time. But when you're writing fiction, authenticity can be a little bit more of a complex concept. So today I want to talk about authenticity in fiction writing and what that means. You're creating a fictional world with fictional characters. And so I guess the thought could be sometimes that authenticity in fiction is just not even really relevant. But I believe it's extremely relevant and important to be authentic in your fiction writing, and here's why. So when I was working on I'm Not a Stalker, which is my story that's currently trending on Wattpad, there were a lot of moments in the writing of that story where I wondered, I had an idea or I had a thought that I wanted to express, but I wondered how my readers would feel about it, or I wondered if they would expect something different, or I wondered if I wrote a certain way, if I would exclude some of my audience. And the truth is that the answer to all of those questions is yes. Yes. When you make choices in writing, you will exclude some of your potential audience just automatically by the way you choose to write. It's not going to match everyone's taste. It's not going to be loved by everyone. And then when you're writing the characters and the events and the story, you're going to upset some people, or you're going to have people who aren't happy with the choices you made, or you're going to have people who even get offended that your character was written a certain way or acted a certain way. And this is what I mean by authenticity. So there can be a strong pull as a writer to try, at least for me, to try to adapt my characters and my story to meet my readers' expectations. And this is sort of a touchy territory to be in because it absolutely matters that I meet their expectations if I want to keep them as readers. But the thing that makes me distinct as a writer is my voice, my style, my brain, right? So when I talk about authenticity, what I'm really saying, it's really very simple. Be smart, be aware of your audience, know who your audience is. First of all, am I writing for grown married people with children? Am I writing for teenagers? Am I writing for senior citizens? Am I writing for Americans? Am I writing for an international audience? All of those things matter. So first of all, be aware of who your audience is, but then be aware of who you are. So for me, when I'm writing, this means there are certain things that I will not do in my writing. It's just not me. It's not something I want to do in my writing. It's not me. I want, when my readers walk away from my story, I want them to feel impacted and uplifted by my story. So sometimes I do that through humor. So even if there's bad things happening, there's humor going on. So overall the story still feels uplifting. Sometimes it's just a matter of, how the story itself plays out and what the characters are like and what events happen in the story. So that's a challenge for me, to be honest, as a writer, to sometimes I have to get creative. I have to think of ways for my characters to be who I need them to be, who I created them to be in the story, without infringing upon who I feel I am as a writer and who I want to be as a writer and the type of writing that I want to produce and that I want to put out there. And really, this comes down to knowing yourself as an author. There are places for all kinds of authors in this world. There is a need for a variety of authors. Not everyone should write like me. Not everyone should write the same styles of stories that I write because it might not fit them and it might not be authentic to who they are. So in order to be authentic to who you are as a writer, you need to know, first of all, who you are as a writer. So anyway, to wrap this up, basically, being authentic, having authenticity in your writing means being true to who you are as an author, understanding who you are, understanding how you want to portray yourself, and not being afraid to do it. So that's it. Thank you. One more thing. When you have true authenticity in your writing, you are going to find your truest readers. So if you have courage, if you're brave and you put yourself out there and you're authentic about who you are as an author, then you are going to attract readers who resonate with that, who resonate with who you are as an author, which means that the readership that you're gaining, the fan base that you're building, these are going to be your true fans. These are going to be people who really connect with you as an author and who are going to want to read your work on an ongoing basis because they desire the type of content that you as an author naturally produce. If you're not following this, then you're going to get caught in a cycle of having to produce things that you don't really feel great about, just in order to keep your audience happy because you've built up an audience around you that isn't true to who you are as an author. It's not that they're a bad audience. You've just set expectations up for them now that they're expecting you to fulfill, which may not, those expectations may not have been what you intended to produce or what you want to produce long term. So authenticity is really important to set up front. Especially if you're just starting to build your platform to gain a readership. Make sure that you're being authentic in how you're presenting yourself as a person when you interact with your readers, and also how you're presenting yourself through your writing and through your stories. Thank you for watching. I will be writing a blog post on this topic probably next week on Monday, but if you have any questions, you can post them below and I'll answer them. Thank you.